Well, I'm trying to do this video. I've already recorded it. I don't know, re-recorded it like 2 times. So I'm just trying to make this as short as possible. No intro at all. So a few things I definitely want to talk about. I want to talk about the demeanor of this coaching staff, especially Nick Sirianni. I feel like there's something different happening this year, and I'm not wrong. I am 100% right on this. Okay, I feel very good about it. I want to talk about a position group later on. I want to talk about, a couple players that we definitely need to talk about later on in this video. So definitely stay tuned for that. The first thing we need to talk about is Nick Sirianni, okay? This season feels different. The coaching feels different this year, especially from Nick, because I feel like Nick has a fire. Nick has gas in the tank right now, okay, for some reason. Well, I know what the reason is. I'm about to tell you, okay? Nick seems to be more firm going into this offseason, okay? I think he's going to be a little bit more strict. I feel like because of what happened last year. Now, my eyes opened up a lot since yesterday because after the first day of training camp, really the first day of training camp where we were seeing all the behind-the-scenes stuff of what was going on, and then really that episode of Unscripted that came out on the Philadelphia Eagles YouTube page the other day really opened my eyes even more. Those two things. Nick did two things this offseason. Okay, the first thing he did was he took some Super Bowl confetti that he saved and he put it in front of the players and said, to get back to this game, this is what we have to do. Okay, do not look ahead. Okay, I know this hurts, but do not look ahead. You have to work to get to this game again, day by day. Take every day and try to get better every single day, and we will get there. Okay, second, he talked about He told a story about how great things can crumble. And this was a good one, too. It sounds really corny, but it's really not, because great things don't last. Some things do, depending on what it is, but, things don't last. Talked about, the NFL favors the Philadelphia Eagles to win the NFC East, to win the NFC, to get into the Super Bowl, to potentially win the Super Bowl, that we cannot listen to the outside noise, that once they start doing that, once players start listening to that, this team is going to go downhill so fast it's going to make your head spin. I'm just summarizing. I can't say the quote-unquote, but that's pretty much what he meant when he said all of that. So those were two things that were kind of interesting. And then when I watched Unscripted, when Nick was driving to the NovaCare in his car, and he was talking about that Super Bowl loss and how much it was gut-wrenching, and it left a scar on him, and it was a wound that was never going to heal. Okay, in my opinion, that's what it sounded like. Nick Sirianni has extra motivation this year. He is going to take advantage of every single minute, every single second, every single millisecond of time between training camp, this offseason, practice, game, whatever the case may be. Okay? Nick is going to take advantage of every opportunity he has. Nick knows this team is so freaking close. We are living in the golden years of the Philadelphia Eagles right now because they are so close into getting a championship. They are so close to winning their second Lombardi. That video yesterday really opened my eyes a lot more when, Lane Johnson and you saw Jason Kelce getting really emotional the night before the Super Bowl. It was like a couple of days before the Super Bowl after their media stuff was done with, and they were all very emotional. They made it to the game, and they were just so emotional, and they were not upset, but they were, this is a big game for a lot of guys' careers. This is what you play in the NFL for. You play in the NFL not to just get year to year. You're in the NFL to win Super Bowls. That's the whole point of being in the NFL. Obviously enjoying football, but the ultimate goal is to get a ring on your finger. And to get it a second time for a lot of these guys was very important. Okay. But it started to freaking piss me off in so many ways at the same time, because I sat there and I was like, these players are literally, Nick Sirianni said, before these guys started talking, Nick Sirianni said, okay, well, we're all going to, you guys say what you need to say. I'm just going to, you guys, he just let the players do their thing. And he sat to the side. And while I'm hearing all these players rip their hearts out of their chest, all I'm thinking about is Jonathan Gann sitting in the fucking back, illegally tampering with the Arizona Cardinals, throwing the game away. I mean, you can't even lie about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it pisses me off even more that they were this emotional a couple days before they played in that game, and that stupid asshole was doing nothing but sneaking phone calls and text messages since the NFC Championship game to the Super Bowl. Literally. That's what pissed me off the most about that. Being giddy after the game. Just really pissed me off. You know what? And I'm not trying to think backwards. I'm trying to think forwards. But this goes into the whole thing why Nick Sirianni is going to be firm this year, because the motivation for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023, this year, guys, is that Super Bowl loss. 100%. 100%. After what Nick said in his car when he was driving to the NovaCare and how he can't forget about, and then after the first day of training camp when he was just going crazy, Nick is taking it to a little bit of a different level this year. It's going to be he doesn't want to ruin this opportunity. Guys, you're in a prime Eagles moment right now because your quarterback is the most selfless human being I've ever seen in my life. Selfless. Guy only cares about everybody else and cares about not the outside noise and all that great stuff, okay? He cares about this team, okay? We are in a prime era right now to where we are drafting so well. We are trading so well. Our positional coaches are training these guys and building these players up so well. We are in a prime era right now where this thing can go on for a long time. Okay? Not even kidding. That's why teams don't last after Super Bowls. Teams that were in Super Bowls that necessarily don't win never go back for a long time because of coaching changes, because of free agents, because of a new head coach coming in, new culture, and then you're kind of, that's why a lot of teams seem like they're not rebuilding. Like sometimes, just switching a head coach makes a huge difference and it puts the team down. Like so many things could change a team. And I'm not being biased about this, okay? Out of the NFC right now, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, they are the most gelled team emotionally, okay, physically, and not even and physically as in, because they play together and we have an intact roster that really didn't change offensively besides two players. Okay? Defensively, we had a few more free agents, but training camp will pan that all out. I'm not really even worried about that because I have some faith in Sean Desai this year. Okay? This is going to be based off of this loss last year. Terrell Edmonds had a podcast after OTAs. He was a guest on somebody's podcast, and he talked about guys in the locker room being pissed off. Not obsessing over the Super Bowl loss, but Terrell Edmonds talked about a few players that were kind of like, have a chip on their shoulder. The locker room feels like there's like something brewing, like everybody's pissed. Like internally everybody is pissed, and they're about to unleash their anger on the league. The Eagles are going to unleash themselves onto the league next year. And Nick knows that he's so close. And losing that game, he'll never forget. He said he'll never forget that moment. Okay, he'll never forget it. But seeing the first day of training camp, how Nick reacted, seeing what Nick did, those two things I talked about that he talked to the team about, those two times, and then seeing that video on Unscripted of him in this car and talking about just how gut-wrenching it was and how much that Super Bowl is going to be a motivator. That Super Bowl loss is going to be a huge motivator going to the 23 season. I firmly believe it. And like I said, when I talked about firm a million times, and I've said the word a million times, I mean that Nick is going to be a little bit more strict this year. Not that he's not going to be playful or anything like that, because he's a nice guy. That's how he is. But when it comes to business, that man is all business. Okay, I don't care how he acts on the field. I don't care. I love the guy. I don't care how he acts. I don't care if it's unprofessional. You win football games, you can act however the hell you want to act. And that's just the truth to it all. That's just the truth. So I just want to talk about that real quick because I thought it was really important. I know it was a long time, but I feel like I feel like that's what's really important right now. That different demeanor with this coaching staff. Nick Sirianni is definitely a little different this year. There's no doubt about it, and I think it's going to come a long way. And I have a big feeling the Eagles could be in the same spot again like they were last year, but ultimately winning and getting us a second Lombardi trophy, and that's what all that matters at the end of the day. Now, I want to go into the linebacker core. Okay, as much as, it's only been 1 day of training camp. Joe, it's only been 1 day of training camp. What are you talking about? Why are you doing, I understand. I 100% understand where you're coming from. Okay, I get it. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt, like I always say when it comes to training camp. Okay, I'm really hoping that we have somebody that is going to really stand out with these linebackers, okay? Because didn't hear much from the Kobe Dean the first day. Didn't hear much from Nicholas Morrow. Nothing the first day, okay? Simran Van Buren, whatever, the Michigan State linebacker, nothing. Christian Ellis is the only one that really we've been hearing about. I'm not really worried about Nakobe Dean that much as, It hurts me because, all these fans are hyping him up so much, and I'm trying not to get to that point because I know that Nakobe Dean came from a good college, played with a great defense. I understand. Okay, the problem I have right now is we have not seen enough because he hasn't played a full game yet. We don't know what this Sean Desai defense is going to look like. I mean, we somewhat know what it's going to look like, but I'm hearing that Sean Desai is going to get the usage, the best usage out of his players, and that's what he's really good at, knowing the strengths and weaknesses of all his players and not putting them in bad positions to lose or to fail. And that's what I really like about him a lot. But I haven't heard much. Like I said, yeah, Joe, it's been 1 day of training camp. Yes, I understand, 100%. Okay. Is Christian Ellis going to be the savior of this linebacker core? I have no idea. I mean, he only got a pick today, so, he's always doing something right. But I heard nothing from Nakobe Dean. These guys haven't played full games yet. Nakobe Dean hasn't played a full game with the Eagles since he's gotten to the league. Nothing. He was gathering information in that room with Nick Roush as a sponge all year last year. The Eagles already knowing going into this season, this offseason, that Nakobe Dean was going to be starting for the Eagles this year. So Howie Roseman already knew that. We all knew that, obviously. But Nicholas Morrow, big question mark. Don't know. Davion Taylor, big question mark. He's been hurt 2 times. Is he going to get hurt a third time? I don't know. So safety, there's a lot of bodies and there's good competition there. And I'm not even really worried about safety that much. It really comes down to linebacker. It really is. I think, obviously, you really have to replace TJ Edwards. And obviously he needs a better skill set than TJ Edwards because TJ Edwards just wasn't a coverage guy, which they need some coverage guys. I think Nakobe Dean could cover. Nicholas Morrow is not the best at it. Can shoot the gap really well and, chase after quarterbacks and be disruptive. But other than that, he's a tackling machine, but there's really nothing else there than that. Davion Taylor, you know what I mean? But as a depth guy, why not? You know what I mean? There's just really nothing there. So I want to see more Nakobe Dean being productive. I'm hoping we hear his name a million times, being all over the field, making tackles, all that great stuff. I don't want to get on the hype train of Nakobe Dean and be like, he's gonna, he's Ray Lewis. No, it's, I'm not getting on that train. I'm going to say I'm excited. Let's see what happens. I got to see with my own 2 eyes where this whole thing is going with this linebacker core. Because it was quiet. It was quiet the first day. It really wasn't much there. Like I said, it was only the first day of training camp. Understand. But I'm hoping that we hear more in the future of training camp and what these guys could do, which would be interesting. So that's all I want to say about that. Because I know a lot of people are having questions about linebacker and do we have enough? I get it. Totally get it. Now, obviously, the 2 injuries we had. Now, I actually had to go back and look and see, are these new injuries, old injuries, lingering? What is the case with Avonte Maddox? What is the case with Barnett? Well, these 2 are dealing with injuries from last year. Still. Okay? Barnett, I don't even has a knee issue. I don't even he got hurt very early, and he's still rehabbing. Unless I'm wrong. I mean, he got hurt very early last. Didn't he get hurt in the off? I don't even remember. It was so long ago. That's how early he got hurt. And he's still rehabbing his knee. And then the Eagles signed him to a 2-year deal last year. I mean, that was probably one of the worst moves the Eagles made. But I get why they did it. They did it because, let's just add another notch to Howie Roseman's belt on re-signing a guy to a cheaper contract, and you have depth at that position because Derek Barnett's not living up to what he is. That's just what it is. He's going to become a free agent after this year, and we'll never see him again unless he has some, 10-11 sack season, which I do not see happening, okay? As long as he's being disruptive and he's helping the guy next to him, I don't care. I feel like you need an assurance policy for Derek Barnett if he gets hurt again. I feel like they have to go after Yannick Ngakoue. And honestly, to be honest, whether Barnett was here or not, I still want to get Yannick Ngakoue. The guy is averaging 6 to 9 sacks a season, been on a few different teams. And for the guy to go on a few different teams and to do the same thing every single year is pretty damn good, okay? Which is pretty good. Okay, if you guys remember, Yannick was coming off that franchise tag with the Jags a few years ago, and remember, he wanted to come to the Eagles so damn badly, but now he probably wants to come even more. Pause. So, he hired a new agent, blah, blah, blah. So, Barnett still dealing with an injury. Avonte Maddox. Okay, Zach McPherson has been taking over. He took over the first day at training camp, okay, for Avonte Maddox on the nickel corner spot, okay? And we need to make sure we find the right guy at that position because I don't trust Avonte Maddox staying healthy. I really, really don't. Okay, he got hurt 2 times last year, and then he got that toe injury. I think it was like that tackle on Dak Prescott, and he tackled him in a weird way, or I don't know what happened, and he kind of twisted his foot or something like that. I don't know what happened, but he's still dealing with that toe injury still. So he's limited. So both of these guys are limited. They're at practice. It's not like they're not practicing, but they're maybe doing some specific work on their own. They're not really joining. They're not getting in on 7-on-7s and all that stuff. It's not happening. They probably won't for probably couple weeks, most likely. But we don't want to get into another Josiah Scott situation with the Philadelphia Eagles on defense. We don't want that to happen. And seems like Zach McPherson he's turned some heads during OTAs. He's played outside. He's been on the inside. I know Josh Jobe played on the outside as well. And trying to find that backup nickel, which, that's a hard position to get. You need someone that's quick. You need someone that's, McPherson's a 4th-round pick from Texas Tech, and, maybe he's gotten better over the past few seasons. So I'm excited for it, see what he could do. So that's where it comes down to. Barnett's very, important too, because if you lose him, you have no third rotation. You'll have no third rotation with your defensive ends because really when it comes down to it, it's Reddick Graham, it's Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, then it's Derek Barnett, and Patrick Johnson? I mean, are they going to move Kyron Johnson from outside linebacker to edge rusher? I don't know. I mean, somebody at this point. I'm not really sure. They can always move Milton Williams from the inside to the outside. Milton Williams could play defensive tackle. Kadavius Street can move inside to the outside. They have a few defensive tackles that can move to defensive end as well. Moro Jomo's another one that can move around. They have 3 guys that can move around from the 3 to the outside. So I'm not really worried about it too much, but to get Yannick would not be a bad idea. Add more to your defensive line. Give Yannick a home. Give him a 2-year deal. Let him stay for this year and next year. Keep that Super Bowl window open and keep that pass rush going with all these younger guys. I think it would be a fantastic idea for this team. So that's all I really want to talk about when it comes to training camp, when it comes to Nick Sirianni, and how much I think he is changing, that he has a different focus this year. He's coaching with a little bit more fire this year because of what happened last year, and I totally get it, 100%. Really, that first day of training camp and that video we seen the other day and the 2 things that he did in the offseason, pretty much were eye-openers, and it really all connects all together, which is amazing. We talked about, obviously, the linebacker position, and, is this going to get better or is it going to get worse? Because Christian Ellis is the only one that's really doing much of anything right now. And like I said, yes, I know it's only 1 day of training camp. I get it. And then obviously the last thing was Derek Barnett, maybe getting Yannick Ngakoue. Barnett's dealing with a lingering injury from last year, still rehabbing, and Avonte Maddox's toe. Just cut the damn toe off. I don't even care anymore. Cut Avonte Maddox's toe off. Give him a new one. I don't know what to do. Give him a metal toe. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about those two injuries and who could take over for those spots, or do you think they could stay healthy this year? So this video is 22 minutes. If you last this long, I appreciate it so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. For more Eagles content every single day, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.